So at about the same time, we're starting to look at Holy Cross and the
Hmm.
closure of the cross. Talk a bit about that was what was happening and what that felt like.
Well, it was sad to see that place half empty. It didn't make sense, especially when they had just spent $64 million renovating the Holy Cross and building all sorts of brand new areas, and then they sold it and closed it for, was it less than $4 million? Uh, it just it, it was just it just seemed like it was they were wasting money. They said that they were trying to contain healthcare costs, but what they were doing was spending money and then throwing it away. It made no sense. They had done some changes to the general too, spent quite a few $1 million on the general, and then they blew it up. It was a horrible time to be working. If you were working, right? You never knew from day to day whether you had a job or not. It was a scary time, and you were afraid to use a Band-Aid sort of thing because you didn't want to go over the budget, that sort of thing. It was just you didn't give anything away or help any patients or whatever. It was just a bad time to be working.
At this point, were you active with UNA at all?
Yes, I was. I was on the board of UNA at the time.
So what were you doing at UNA to try
Well,
and deal with some of this? I mean, there's no way to deal with it.
there was no way to deal with it as such, yeah. We certainly were pushing for severance and trying to do things like that. We were negotiating at the time. We took a 5% decrease to help keep jobs, which didn't happen, I might add. They still did the cuts in the mid 90s and onward, with when even after we had taken a 5% salary decrease. So, I mean, we were trying to do what we could as UNA. On the other hand, there wasn't a lot you could do because the government wasn't handing out the funds, and there was nothing that the hospitals and the health regions could do.
Yeah.
The area where I'm working, we doubled our capacity in the last year with some renovations and everything, and now we're doing double the patients that we were doing before. And the other area where I work, like I work in two different areas, they've also increased their patient capacity by quite a bit. So we're trying to increase and help those waiting times, but it's not a perfect solution. The way we are having code burgundies now that they've blown up the general and the Holy Cross has been sold, there aren't enough beds in the city. And the city is growing way more than they had even anticipated, and we're having what we call a code burgundy, which is no beds, and that means the ambulances are waiting. Those wait times have increased a tremendous amount, as has the wait times in emergency and that sort of thing, because there's just no capacity to deal with people. I remember when I first started out in nursing, you touched the patients, you helped them. If someone was dirty, you cleaned them up, right? You weren't afraid. Now, I rarely touch a patient without a pair of gloves on. And to me that just seems to be I know that there's so many more diseases out there now, and it's just something we have to do. But to me it seems like those were probably there, but you didn't think about it. And now you have to protect yourself at all times, and you wear gloves. And I just feel that's the change I've seen in my 30 years, is that the I can't think of the word I'm trying to use, the contact between the patient and the nurse has, instead of being connected like this, you're still connecting, but you're keeping yourself farther away because you don't have the time to spend. And I haven't worked on the floor for a long time, but I don't think they give back rubs anymore. And we used to give a back rub at night if a patient wanted a back rub and stuff like that. You don't go around asking if they want a back rub anymore.